Clashes have broken out in Paris as tens of thousands of people march through the city in protest against a new law which restricts the right to publish images of the police. The demonstrations, which took place across the country, followed widespread outrage at a video appearing to show a black music producer, Michel Zecler, being attacked by three white police officers in his studio in Paris. Our Paris correspondent Lucy Williamson.
Police are always a target at protests like this. Today, they were the reason for them. The edges of a peaceful march through Paris, frayed by clashes between hardline groups and the police. Water cannon and tear gas following the path of the unrest. Among the buildings set on fire, one belonging to the Bank of France, an anarchist sign scrawled on the wall outside. Tensions have risen quickly here thanks to a small group of agitators. Most of this march has been peaceful, but this new law banning the malicious dissemination of police identities has touched a raw nerve in France.
They've created a bill that would forbid us from filming while we are filming unbelievable things. So here I am, in the street for my freedom, as you can see written on my mask.
Obviously, the ban on recording audio and video of the police, not to be able to film what happens, that's obviously an attack on press freedom, simply put.
A video of music producer Michel Zecler being beaten in his studio by police has sparked a furious reaction in France. Recorded by a security camera and published on social media this week, many are asking whether it would ever have come to light under the new law. 4 police officers are now being investigated. Last night on social media, President Macron said the attack on Michel Zecler was unacceptable. These images make us ashamed, he said. Mobile phone cameras trained on police lines today reflected the placards calling on people to film them as part of the protest. The last time so many people gathered for a protest here, it was to defend the right to publish blasphemous cartoons. After months of lockdown and curfew because of coronavirus, France has shown this year it will tolerate restrictions on many things, just not on freedom of speech. Lucy Williamson, BBC News, Paris.
Coronavirus cases in Britain, but what we're not seeing is a concomitant rise in deaths. So this second wave actually seems to be a lot less dangerous than the first one, and yet they are still stuck in this mindset that they were 6-8 months ago. It's very, very scary.
Well, it's going to be next week. There is going to be a challenge in the Commons. So there's about 100 Tory MPs who are actually really unhappy with what's happening. So we will see that in the Commons. It depends whether Labour sides with Boris. You might end up with some weird system there. Boris is in a lot of trouble. The problem that they have is these different tiers, these levels within Britain. They've got the same problem you had in Victoria, where out in the sticks, out in the countryside, some dust off. There we go, and that's been on the cards.
Shalom. Foremost, give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshua, Ba'ashem Rakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS groups and ones alike, teacher and percent true. Shalom, Barakathon to them. Salutation to the elders and apostles of GMS groups and ones alike, teacher and percent true. Shalom, Barakathon to them for the edification and knowledge. And the foremost, give all praise again to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshua, Ba'ashem Rakadash. There's two videos relating to, one is Sky News Australia talking about Boris Johnson in trouble relating to handling the severity relating to the COVID virus, pretty much the lockdowns. And the other videos talking about BBC News talking about the protests in France relating to racism and police violence. An example of that is 3 police officers recorded beating the so-called black man, a studio producer, in his own studio. I want to go to some scriptures. I'm going to go to 2nd Ezra 15. (14 through 19). I'm going to read it. 2nd Ezra 15, 14 through 19. This was pretty much what's going on. Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein. A warning. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that relates to civil unrest. You know what I mean? Swords in their hands relating to guns and weaponry. Number 16. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. And that's sedition. Insurrection, violent uprising of the people against the kings and princes, who relates to authorities. And they're taking the power in their hands, and they're not regarding their kings and princes, man. Number 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able. Martial law. We have precursors of that earlier this year in this country and abroad in other countries. Other major cities here, other major cities in other countries across the world. Lockdowns, curfews, lockdowns and curfews, and pretty much only limited operations relating to central businesses, and pretty much getting permission to, you have to be authorized to do certain things, man. We in the precursors of that earlier this year, we're going to continue that. You know what I mean, to relating to the second, the first wave, then it's continuing to the second wave, which is pretty much we're entering that. Number 18, Shalakia. For because of their pride, the city shall be in trouble, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So it's related to the hellish state and condition, the things that's going to be happening. So the city shall be in trouble because the unrest and the things, the civil unrest, the uprising. So there's going to be trouble in the city, and the houses shall be destroyed because of limited supplies, and people are going to want certain things, you know what I mean? And it's going to be where they have to have it. So they're going to be in a desperate type state of mind, man. And men shall be afraid because of the conditions. Both men and women will be afraid, and all because of relating to the condition of what's going to be happening, and what will be happening. And men shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of a lack of bread, relating to famine. and great tribulation. We the precursors of great tribulation, lack of food, and this goes to home invasion, breaking and entering. So they're not going to have regard for your neighbors, people you know, people you don't know. So when it becomes whereas a limited supply, whereas a high demand but limited supplies, people are going to be in desperate type state of mind. So they're going to do a lot of crazy things, such as breaking and entering establishments personally and publicly. Example of that earlier this year relating to looting and rioting in stores in major cities here in this country and abroad. So this is the state we're in. We the precursors of great tribulation relating to what's going on. I'm going to go to it's Isaiah 19. And 2. I'll go to 19 and 2. I will set I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to idols and charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to wizards. That relates to sorcery and witchcraft. This relates to Egyptian versus Egyptian, citizen versus citizen, whether the citizens here in this America or citizens abroad in various respected countries in major cities across the world. So that spirit is going to be on people where people are going to turn against one another, man. They're going to go against his brother, their brethren, their families, people they know, friends, everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. We're going to quote with Matthew 24, Luke 21, Mark 13, I always bring out. Kingdom against kingdom, nation against nation. Things happen in different places. Pestilence, famines, and different things. That's the times we're in. Number 4. And the Egyptian will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, and the Lord of hosts. That relates to the one who's in power, man. That fierce king, that cruel lord, that's the one who's in rulership, man. That has dominance over the multitude of nations all over the world, man. The one who's in a very high power structure. The one who can implement certain draconic, totalitarianistic type rules upon the multitude of nations of people globally. So that's the ones who have the power, man. For example, that making you wear a handkerchief over your face, which is a mask, and very other draconic, non-freedom type of statute, decrees, and rules that's forced upon the people beyond, that's contrary to what should be. And that being said, this was just a few verses relating to that. That being said, I'm going to make this short and not too long, something simple. Give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakadash. The water for listening. I hope it benefit whoever listens. Shalom.